Hello, my name is Aaron Yepes, and I will do the Chapter 3 Problem 3 problem for Physics 111. And so our problem is, in a football game, a kicker attempts a field goal. The ball remains in contact with the kicker's foot for 0.0461 seconds, during which the time it experiences an acceleration of 443 meters per second squared. The ball is launched at an angle of 56.2 degrees above the ground. Determine A, horizontal, and B, vertical components of the launch velocity. So the first thing we do is take all our known variables, which are time and acceleration. So t equals 0.0461 seconds, and a equals 443 meters per second squared. We need to find our velocity of x, and velocity in the y direction. Alright. The second step is to draw out our problem, and we have our kicker kicking the ball at the field goal. And we know that this is 56.2 degrees, and that the acceleration is 443 meters per second squared. And now basically we're trying to find the velocity in the y direction and the velocity in our x direction. And to do that, we're going to have to use cosine and sine. We're going to use velocity in the x direction is equal to velocity cosine theta, and for velocity in the y direction, we're going to use velocity sine theta. And now we just start plugging in our numbers, and to find, well, actually, how we got cosine is because cosine is equal to adjacent over, hypotenuse. And so when we look at the angle, which would be theta, the adjacent angle would be the velocity in the x direction, and so that's why we use cosine for the x direction, and we use sine, which is opposite over hypotenuse. It's in the opposite of the angle, and so that's why we were going to use sine for the y direction. And now we just find we start with velocity, what our velocity is. And we know that velocity is equal to acceleration times time. And we're given these values, so we just plug them in. And our acceleration is 443 meters per second squared times our time, which is 0.0461 seconds, and that will equal 20.4 meters per second. Alright, now that we have everything that we need, except there was one thing that I forgot, which was our angle, which is 56.2. We can now plug in our variables into this equation to find out our velocity in the x direction. We'll do that one first. And so velocity in the x direction is equal to velocity, which we found out that is 20.4 meters per second times cosine of our angle theta, which in this case is 56.2 degrees. And then we plug that into our calculator and we find out that the velocity in our x direction is 11.3 meters per second. And then for the velocity in the y direction is also 20.4 meters per second sine of 56.2 degrees. Plug that into our calculator and we get 17 meters per second.